There is a mysterious power hidden in the simple act of writing. What you set down, if impressed upon your heart, will rise from the page and clothe itself in flesh. Tonight, I will show you why every word you inscribe is a seed, and how that seed must spring forth as the life you are destined to live. It is written, "Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God." What is this word, and where is this mouth from which it proceeds? If you hear it with the ear of flesh, you hear only noise, but if you hear it with the ear of spirit, you discover that the word is imagination clothed in feeling, and the mouth is the consciousness within you which declares itself to be. Bread alone cannot sustain man, for bread is but the effect of an invisible cause. It is the word, the unseen declaration, that creates the bread, multiplies the loaves, and fills the empty basket until it overflows. The outer world is but the shadow cast by an inner voice that whispers, "It is so." The scripture is not history, but eternal prophecy, written for your awakening. When you read that man shall live by every word, it is not an instruction to recite scripture by rote or to cling to letters upon a page. It is an invitation to recognize that the life you live is the result of words, silent words, inward decrees, sentences formed not with the tongue of flesh, but with the tongue of imagination. Every circumstance you call real was once a word that proceeded from within you. You spoke it in the stillness of night when you assumed without questioning. You spoke it in the secret chambers of mind when you felt yourself to be other than what your senses declared. And having spoken, the word did not return void, but accomplished that whereunto it was sent. Do you see then the immense power entrusted to you? Every thought clothed in feeling is a word of God. Every line you dare to inscribe with conviction is scripture in motion. The act of writing is holy, for it makes visible the invisible word. To write is to draw down spirit into form, to engrave the living word upon the tablet of the outer world. When you write with feeling, you are not a mere mortal scribbling upon paper. You are the Creator inscribing upon the book of life. The ancients were told that the commandments were written on stone, but stone is only the symbol of permanence, the sign that what is engraved within will stand unshaken until fulfilled. You hold in your hand the same stylus of destiny. Every word you dare to set down with faith is chiseled into the eternal record. The moment you write and feel it true, heaven and earth conspire to bring it forth, for the word of God cannot return void. And who is this God? None other than your own wonderful awareness declaring, "I am." It is not idle speech when scripture says that by every word man lives. Your health, your wealth, your very circumstances are the living testimony of past decrees. Some you have written upon paper, some you have written upon the mind's silent scroll, but all are written and all are faithfully lived out. If you would change your life, you must change the words you inscribe. Write no more of lack, for the word of lack brings only famine. Write no more of sorrow, for the word of sorrow weaves itself into tragedy. Write instead of joy, of abundance, of fulfilled desire, and you will eat the bread of heaven rather than the husks of earth. The law is simple, yet its simplicity hides its majesty. Whatever you impress upon yourself with conviction must externalize. The outer is nothing but the crystallized shadow of the inner decree. If you write with trembling hand and doubting heart, your words are but scattered seeds that fall upon stony ground. But if you write as one who knows the word is flesh, as one who feels the certainty of its truth, then your words are living seeds sown in fertile soil, destined to yield a harvest pressed down, shaken together, and running over. It is not the page itself that holds the power, but the consciousness that breathes through the hand which writes. For the page is but a mirror, a witness of the unseen. When you take up pen, take it as though you were handling the rod of Moses that parts the sea, or the staff of Aaron that blossoms. Do not scribble vainly as though recording idle wishes. Write as one who inscribes history already lived. Let every line you write carry the pulse of certainty, the fragrance of completion. Say not, one day it will be, but rather, it is so. And in saying so, you seal it in heaven, and heaven will show it forth upon earth. The law moves in silence, needing no help from you. Once the word is sound, it works while you sleep and while you wake. You need not watch the soil to see if the seed is stirring. You need only trust that the unseen root is pushing downward, even as the unseen stem is pressing upward. The harvest will break the surface when its time is full, and all this begins with the inner law as you assume, so shall it be. Writing is but the outward gesture of assumption, the visible seal of the invisible act. The world is obedient to the inner word. It has no power to resist. Appearances may contradict, circumstances may deny, but these are but shadows and smoke. The word endures. If you hold fast, the facts must rearrange themselves until they bow to the word that you have spoken. The invisible decree is lord over visible fact. Fact is slave, word is master. And the master word lives not in the pages of ancient scripture alone, but in the pages you yourself dare to write with conviction tonight. So I say to you, write, for in writing you awaken the law. Write as though commanding armies, for unseen powers hasten to fulfill what you inscribe. Write with reverence, knowing that your words are not dead ink, but living fire. Each stroke of the pen is a spark that leaps from the eternal flame of your imagination, seeking substance, form, and dwelling place in the world of sense. Write with faith, for faith is the assurance that what is written is already true. Faith is the bridge that carries the word from the unseen to the seen. Faith is the silence in which the decree takes root. And when you have written, leave it in peace. Do not dig up the seed with anxious fingers, asking when and how it shall come. Trust the law. The law is faithful. The law cannot fail. As surely as night follows day, so the written word, impressed with faith, will ripen into fact. Tonight, if you would test this power, write down that which you most long to experience. Write it as though it had already been lived. Let your hand move slowly, reverently, savoring each word as though it were a jewel. Feel the joy of its fulfillment as you inscribe it, and having written, close the page and rest in quiet thanksgiving. For it is written, and because it is written, it must come to pass. There is a holy art of vision, and it is found in the secret theater of imagination. Within you lies a stage upon which all of life's plays are written and rehearsed long before the curtain rises in the outer world. What you dare to enact within, though unseen by the eye of flesh, is already a living reality in the unseen. The invisible world is not less real for being unseen. It is the root from which the visible grows. Every tree you behold once slumbered as an invisible seed. Every house you walk into once lay dormant in the unseen blueprint of mind. Every fortune gained was first felt before it was touched. So when I ask you to enter the vision in imagination, I am not urging you into idle daydream, but into the creative workshop of eternity. There you must feel as though the desire were already fulfilled. To write, I live in abundance, without feeling it, is as a shadow without substance. But to sit quietly, to let the word fall away, and to feel the warm atmosphere of possession, this is the key. Can you hear the congratulatory voices of friends calling you blessed? Can you feel the crisp notes of wealth resting in your hands? Can you touch the solidity of the home you claim as yours? If you can, then you have entered the vision, and what is seen in this secret place will, in time, stand before you in the waking world. It is not enough to think of the desire, you must think from it. To think of wealth is to acknowledge its absence. To think from wealth is to breathe as one already surrounded by it. As you close your eyes, slip into the mood of the wish fulfilled. Do not ask how it shall come. Do not reason how the path may unfold. Simply assume the end. Rest within it. Let it take on the tones of reality until it feels more solid than the chair on which you sit. For the world you now call real was once only such a vision, held with conviction until it congealed into fact. Imagination is the womb of creation. What you plant there in feeling must one day be born. Many dismiss imagination as fancy, as play, but scripture tells a different story. Jacob dreamed, and in the dream he saw the ladder stretching to heaven, angels ascending and descending, carrying messages from the invisible to the visible. That ladder is imagination itself, and the angels are states of consciousness rising and descending according to the visions you hold. Every time you ascend in imagination into the state of your fulfilled desire, angels ascend with you, carrying your decree into the unseen courts of being. And when you descend into the waking world, you bring with you the assurance that what you saw is already established in heaven. Consider this: the world is not moved by your struggles, but by your state. The state is the seed. Outward events are but the shadows cast by the inner assumption. If you dwell in lack, you need not speak a word. The state itself calls forth experiences of lack. If you dwell in abundance, without lifting a finger, abundance moves toward you, drawn by the magnetic power of your state. You may protest, but I do not yet see it. I tell you, seeing is the last act, feeling is the first. Do not seek proof in the outer world. Plant the seed within, and the outer will yield in season. There was once a man who nightly entered the vision of himself as prosperous. By day, his life was filled with debts, failures, and unpaid accounts. Yet in imagination, he walked differently. Each night before sleep, he wrote his decree upon the secret scroll of mind. He felt himself wealthy, generous, successful. He heard others speaking to him as one admired. Though the senses mocked him, he refused to abandon the state. Then, by a series of events no one could have plotted, forgotten debts were repaid, new opportunities arose, and the shadow world yielded to the inner decree. What had once been laughed at as fancy hardened into fact, proving again that the state precedes the fact, never the reverse. The outer is always the echo of the inner song. The world is a mirror, faithfully reflecting the tone you strike within yourself. Strike the chord of lack and the mirror will return it. Strike the chord of joy fulfilled and the mirror will oblige. To demand that the mirror first change before you alter your tone is futility. The mirror cannot initiate, it can only reflect. Change yourself and the world must follow. This is why I urge you to live nightly in the vision of your fulfilled desire. Close your eyes and step into the scene as an actor steps into his role. Do not stand at a distance watching yourself, but enter fully, inhabiting the part until it feels natural. If you would be loved, then imagine yourself embraced. If you would be honored, then feel the weight of recognition upon you. If you would be wealthy, then live tonight in the joy of possession. Hold nothing back, for imagination knows no limits, and what you dare to assume becomes the garment you wear in the world. Do not underestimate the subtlety of this law. One slight shift of state, held faithfully, can transform a life. A man may appear to the world as poor, but if inwardly he has assumed wealth, that state is already weaving the fabric of his new reality. Outward appearances may resist for a season, but persistence will dissolve them. The state is eternal cause, the outer but transient effect. Hold the state, and the facts must bow. Can you not see how marvelous this is? You are free this very moment to ascend into any state you choose. No gate bars your way but unbelief. No prison holds you but your own refusal to imagine differently. The door is open, the ladder stands before you, and the vision waits to be entered. If tonight you would walk into another world, then dare to feel yourself already there. The law knows no distance, no delay. The moment you enter the state, you begin to draw to yourself the conditions that match it. Life will rearrange itself, people will play their parts, events will unfold, all to mirror the state you have assumed. The secret, then, is to dwell not in longing but in fulfillment. Longing only prolongs itself. Fulfillment begets fulfillment. Live now as though it were already so. And soon the outer will echo the inner with startling fidelity. This is the great mystery, that the invisible governs the visible, that the inner state creates the outer fact, that imagination, when clothed in feeling, is destiny itself. Faith is the bridge between the unseen desire and the seen fulfillment. Without faith, the vision remains a shadow, a beautiful but unformed mist. With faith, the shadow takes on substance, shape, and weight until it stands before you as undeniable fact. To live by faith is to live not by the evidence of your senses, but by the assurance of the unseen. The senses cry, "It is not here," but faith whispers, "It is done." The senses show you emptiness, but faith fills your hand with plenty. The senses reveal sickness, but faith clothes you in perfect health. Faith sustains the feeling of the wish fulfilled in the face of contradiction, and because it sustains it, the contradiction must dissolve. Do not think faith is striving or effort. Faith is rest. Faith is the deep knowing that what is written in imagination is already accomplished. The farmer does not strain over the soil to force the seed to grow. He plants and rests, trusting the invisible law to bring forth the harvest. So must you plant in imagination and rest in the assurance that what you have felt as true is already accomplished in the unseen. Faith is not struggling to believe. Faith is the quiet acceptance that it is so. It is to live in the end, to feel now the joy that would be yours if your desire were already fulfilled, and to dwell in that joy until it becomes natural. There is no power outside the state you occupy. If you dwell in the state of lack, even surrounded by abundance, you will feel empty. If you dwell in the state of fulfillment, even while the world denies you, you will feel rich, and in time the world must conform. The outer is the slow echo of the inner assumption. Faith is the art of holding the inner state unwavering until the echo aligns with the voice. You are the voice, the world is the echo. Speak inwardly, feel inwardly, assume inwardly, and the world will not resist, for it has no life of its own apart from your inner word. Many abandon their desire too soon. They look outward, and seeing no evidence, they declare it impossible. But faith asks you to close your eyes to the outer and open them to the inner. See with the vision of spirit. Feel with the certainty of imagination. If you can persist in that inner assurance, the outer will bow. The unseen is always stronger than the seen, for the seen is born of it. Every mountain of doubt, every desert of delay is powerless before the quiet, steady assurance of faith. Now, hear me well, the time of faith is not only the day, but especially the night. As you prepare to sleep, the senses lose their hold, and the door to the deeper self opens wide. This is the moment to enter the state of the wish, fulfilled with ease and naturalness. Let the body rest as though it were already in possession of all it longs for. Let the mind slip into the dream of fulfillment. Sleep, then, in the mood of the answered prayer. For what you carry into sleep, you carry into the depths of being, and the depths are always faithful to bring forth in kind. This is why I tell you that the most powerful act you can perform is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled just before you fall asleep. In that twilight of consciousness, when the outer world grows dim and the inner world comes alive, you plant the seed in the fertile soil of the subconscious. There it grows without your effort, unfolding silently through the night. When you wake, you may forget the seed you planted, but the law does not forget. It works in silence, arranging people, events, and circumstances to bear witness to the word you impressed upon it. Do not underestimate this sacred interval of sleep. The day may be filled with distractions, with doubts, with the noise of the outer world, but night is holy. Night is the altar upon which you lay your offering of faith. As you close your eyes, let go of the facts of the day and take up only the vision of the end fulfilled. Do not enter sleep with burdens, grievances, or empty hands. Enter with joy, with gratitude, with the certainty that it is already so. For the consciousness you take into sleep is the womb of creation, and from it your world is born anew. You may protest that your outer life is filled with lack, with struggle, with evidence against you. But I say, dare to close the door to that world and open the door to the inner. In imagination, walk into the scene that implies your desire is already accomplished. If it is wealth, let yourself feel the weight of money, the freedom it brings, the relief of debts dissolved. If it is love, let yourself feel the warmth of the embrace, the joy of companionship, the laughter shared. If it is health, let yourself feel the lightness of the body, the strength in your limbs, the ease of perfect vitality. Enter into the scene and remain until it feels real. Then drift into sleep from that state, and you will have done more for your future than all the striving of your waking hours. Faith, then, is not passive, though it appears restful. Faith is the continual choosing of the end over the evidence. It is to say, though the world denies it, I have seen it. Though the senses contradict, I know it is so. And because you rest in that knowledge, the law brings it forth. The harvest does not delay for those who wait in faith. It comes in its appointed time, swift and certain, as sure as dawn follows night. So tonight I urge you to test this law. Before you sleep, choose the state you would live tomorrow. Do not lie down with thoughts of worry, of lack, of fear. These will only multiply their kind. Instead, close your eyes and enter the world of fulfillment. Write upon the secret tablets of your heart the word of completion. Feel it, believe it, rest in it. Then let sleep carry it into the depths, where it will germinate and grow. And when you wake, though you may not yet see the harvest, know it is already begun. Walk through the day with quiet assurance, for you have already planted the seed, and the law is faithful. If you persist in this nightly practice, you will see transformations that astonish you. What once seemed far away will draw near. What once seemed impossible will stand before you as fact. And you will know by your own experience that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You will know that to dwell in the end is to call forth the end. You will know that what you feel as true within must, by the law of being, appear without. When you have impressed the word upon yourself, when you have written it in imagination or upon the page of life with feeling, then let it go. Release it into the depths as a seed released into the soil. Do not follow after it with anxious thoughts, asking when it will grow or how it will break the surface. The soil does not require your supervision. The law does not require your interference. It works silently, invisibly, and faithfully. The act of surrender is the highest form of trust. It is to know that once planted, the seed must unfold in its appointed time. The urge to meddle, to check, to doubt is born of unbelief. But if you trust, you release, and in releasing, you allow the law to work in its perfect way. Consider the farmer who sows his field. He does not rise in the night to dig up the seed to see if it has begun to stir. He sleeps, he wakes, he goes about his day, confident that the earth will perform its hidden work. The rain will come, the sun will shine, the seed will split, roots will press downward, and shoots will press upward. All this is done without his hand, save for the single act of planting. So it is with the seed of imagination. Once you have planted the desire by assuming it fulfilled, your only task is to rest in quiet assurance. Do not meddle with it by looking outward for proof. Proof comes last, cause comes first. And cause is always within. This surrender is not laziness, nor is it indifference. It is faith in action. It is to release the word into the keeping of the unseen and to trust the unseen to bring it forth. The desire has its own appointed hour. It will not tarry, but it will not be hurried either. It blossoms when it is ready, and when it comes suddenly, as though it had always been there. One day the field is bare, the next it is green with harvest. One day your hands seem empty, the next they are filled with the very thing you once only imagined. Such is the way of the law. And know this, even in the silence of surrender, you are not alone. The moment the word is written upon the heart with faith, unseen messengers take flight. Scripture speaks of angels, and men have thought of them as winged beings moving through the skies. But the angels are states of consciousness, powers of imagination, messengers of the unseen. The instant you assume a new state, the angel of that state goes forth into the invisible world, carrying the message, arranging the pattern, gathering the threads of circumstance to weave them into the garment of your assumption. Do not think this idle fancy. The world you see is already the work of such messengers. Every event in your life, every meeting, every opportunity was brought about by states you once occupied. You may not have traced the path, but the angel did. You may not have seen the threads being woven, but the tapestry was formed by your own invisible decree. If now you assume a higher state, the angel of that state goes before you. It moves through the unseen corridors, touching minds, influencing decisions, guiding footsteps, until the outer world conforms to the pattern you impressed upon yourself. This is why you need not struggle, nor strive, nor force. The messengers are faithful. Once dispatched, they do not rest until the word is fulfilled. He shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. This charge is the state you have assumed. Assume wealth, and the angel of wealth goes forth to prepare the way. Assume love, and the angel of love arranges the meeting, the union, the harmony. Assume success, and the angel of success aligns the path, opens the doors, and clears the obstacles. All of life is the work of these messengers, and they are none other than your own assumptions taking on life and power in the unseen. The hidden witness observes all you do in imagination. Nothing is lost, nothing is wasted. Every feeling, every assumption, every word you inscribe upon the heart is heard by the unseen witness. This witness is not a distant being in the sky, it is the eternal depth of your own being. It records faithfully, it remembers unfailingly, and it brings forth unerringly. What you assume, it declares true. What you feel as real, it engraves upon the eternal record, and when the time is full, it unveils it as fact. Therefore guard well what you write within. Do not plant seeds of fear, for the angels of fear will hasten to fulfill them. Do not dwell in sorrow, for the messengers of sorrow are swift to obey. Choose instead to assume joy, to write abundance, to inscribe fulfillment. Dispatch only angels of light, and they will return with gifts. Dispatch only states of love, and they will return with harmony. For every state sends forth its messenger, and the messenger is always faithful to the word it carries. So tonight, when you enter the quiet of your chamber, remember this: the moment you assume the wish fulfilled, you have sent forth the word. The angel departs from you, but not from your being. It goes before you unseen to prepare the way, and your task is only to rest, to trust, to surrender. Let go of questions, of fears, of the restless urge to know when and how. These are weeds that choke the seed. Rest instead in thanksgiving, knowing that the unseen has heard, the messenger has gone forth, and the harvest is assured. When you wake tomorrow, walk as one whose word is already fulfilled. Do not wait for evidence to appear before you rejoice. Rejoice now, for the word is spoken, the seed is planted, the angel is dispatched. Let your joy be the fragrance of faith, and let your thanksgiving be the song that carries you through the day. For though you may not yet see it, the invisible has already conspired to make it so. And when it breaks forth, you will know that it was not the outer that caused the change, but the inner word, the inner surrender, the inner faith that released the messengers into their holy work. Doubt is the greatest thief of the fulfilled desire. It enters silently, disguised as reason, as caution, as prudence. It whispers, "The world shows you otherwise, how can it be?" And the mind, unguarded, listens and falters. But know this: the outer world has no authority over your inner decree. The senses may contradict, circumstances may appear hostile, yet these are but shadows. They hold no power but that which you give them. Faith is the refusal to acknowledge the outer as master, the quiet knowing that the unseen word spoken within is stronger than any evidence arrayed before you. To refuse doubt is to become unshakable. To persist in the inner conviction, though the world protests, is to call forth the world to obey. The law is absolute. What you impress with certainty upon your being must materialize, no matter how long the outer seems to resist. Many abandon their desire too soon, deceived by appearances. They write with fervor, they imagine with delight, but they peek through the veil of the senses and are disheartened. The law, however, does not move at the pace of human impatience. It moves according to the rhythm of perfect timing, bringing forth the fulfillment when the inner word has fully matured. The unseen is faithful beyond measure, and your only failure is to interrupt the process with doubt. Hold fast, therefore, to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Close the eyes of the senses and open the eyes of imagination. See not the world as it is, but as it is in the unseen reality you have impressed upon your heart. When you persist in this state, even when all outer evidence contradicts it, the law must align the facts to match your inner decree. Do not fear contradiction. Contradiction is the proving ground of faith. It is the testing field upon which the word, spoken inwardly, shows its authority. The seed buried in soil faces stones, darkness, and resistance, yet it pushes upward, seeking light. So must your desire, planted in imagination, push through the apparent opposition until it reaches the surface of your outer world. Contradiction is temporary, the word eternal. Persist, and you shall see the proof of its power, for the world reflects only what you assume. To assume otherwise is to delay. To assume faithfully is to command the unseen to act. Consider now the parable of the sower, for it holds the deepest instruction. A sower went forth to sow his seed. Some fell by the wayside, where it was trampled and devoured by birds. Some fell upon stony ground, where it sprouted quickly, but withered for want of root. Some fell among thorns, where it was choked, and some fell upon good soil, where it brought forth fruit, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. Understand that the seed is your word, your assumption, your inner decree. The soil is the state of your consciousness. If the soil is shallow, fearful, or distracted, the seed will falter. If the soil is good, receptive, and steadfast, the seed will flourish. The lesson is simple yet profound. Cultivation of the inner state is the prerequisite for manifestation. Write and assume with care, nourish the seed with feeling, and guard it against the weeds of doubt, worry, and negativity. Only then will it find fertile ground to bring forth the harvest. The sower does not attempt to make the seed grow by force. He places it in receptive earth and trusts. The seed itself knows its own power. So it is with your inner decrees. Write them with conviction, enter the scene in imagination, and then let them rest in the fertile soil of your consciousness. The law will perform the miracle. It requires no external aid, no manipulation of circumstances, no striving. The unseen knows its work and will accomplish it with precision. Your task is simply to assume, to feel, to believe, and to rest in the inner assurance. Even among those who have cultivated fertile soil, the parable teaches patience. Some seeds take longer to appear, for their roots must grow deep before they surface. So too must your desires mature in the hidden chambers of your mind. Impatience is the thief of fruition. Trust the process and let the law unfold in its time. You may not see the immediate effect, yet the invisible is arranging everything to match the state you have assumed. Persist, for the law is infallible. No seed is lost that has been rightly planted. No word is void that has been faithfully spoken inwardly. This is the beauty of the principle. The outer world is but an echo, and your inner state is the conductor. You may appear surrounded by obstacles, by contradiction, by apparent impossibility, yet these are mere reflections. If the state within you remains unshaken, the outer cannot resist. Like water seeking its level, reality must conform to the inner decree. You do not need to battle the world. You need only to assume, to feel, to persist, and to release. The law moves silently, invisibly, faithfully. It obeys the inner command with precision, bringing forth that which has been written, assumed, and believed. The sower's lesson continues: diligence, consistency, and care in planting determine the harvest. Scatter the seed carelessly, and it may fall by the wayside. Plant it amidst thorns, and it may be choked. But when you enter the state fully, when you feel the desire realized, when you write it as true, when you release it in faith and guard it against doubt, the seed finds good soil. Then the harvest is not in question. It comes, pressed down, shaken together, running over. The law cannot fail. The seed cannot fail. The words spoken inwardly, the feeling held, the state assumed, are the unfailing causes of the seen effect. So tonight, if you would practice this law, choose your seed carefully. Write it with reverence. Imagine it with depth. Feel it as reality, as already accomplished. Protect it from doubt and fear, and release it with trust. Let it rest in the fertile soil of your inner world, where angels, messengers of the unseen, go forth to bring it into manifestation. The outer world is merely the harvest, and the harvest will be abundant, certain, and glorious, for what is written inwardly, what is planted in faith, must bear fruit in kind. Everything you have done up to this moment, every word written, every scene imagined, every feeling assumed, is but the prelude to a greater mastery. The unseen is alive with your inner decree, and it waits only for your continued faith to unfold fully. Do not underestimate the power of persistence, for the outer world bends not to effort, nor to reasoning, nor to struggle, but to the enduring state you occupy. The inner law is simple. Persistence in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled compels the invisible to act. It cannot resist, like a river obeying gravity. Like the tide returning to the shore, the unseen conforms without hesitation to the persistent decree of consciousness. Consider how many have abandoned their inner script too soon, convinced by the outer that their desires are impossible. They look at appearances, and appearances mislead them, for the outer world is but a shadow of the inner. One may see emptiness, poverty, sickness, failure, yet these are only reflections of prior assumptions, echoes of states once entertained. The present is not a tyrant, it is a mirror, and the mirror has no authority over you but that which you grant. Hold firm in your inner conviction, and the mirror will rearrange itself to reflect your state. Persist not in struggle, but in the quiet, unshakable knowing that what you have written and imagined is already true. The mind that dwells in persistence moves beyond time. It lives in the end, not in the journey. It is not concerned with how, nor when, nor by what means the fulfillment will appear. To concern yourself with methods is to place the harvest in your hands before it is ripe. To insist on timing is to question the unseen, and the unseen does not bend to questioning. Persist in the feeling, dwell in the scene, allow imagination to saturate your consciousness. The longer you maintain the state of fulfillment, the more rapidly and surely it will externalize. Persistence is not effort, it is the natural prolongation of an inner conviction that refuses to be disturbed by outer appearances. There is an elegance in this law, a rhythm, a grace. You do not struggle against the world, you inhabit another realm. You do not push events into place, you let the law do its perfect work. Like a composer who writes a symphony and lets the orchestra play, you have written your desire in imagination, and now the law orchestrates its fulfillment. Every act, every coincidence, every alignment in the outer world is drawn forth by the persistent vibration you maintain within. You are not a participant in the outer, you are the conductor of the invisible, and the world is your manifestation. Even when the outer seems slow, persist. The delay is not denial, it is preparation. Seeds buried in soil do not sprout at once, and the unseen cultivates the circumstances with meticulous care. Each moment of apparent delay is a quiet unfolding beneath the surface, a shaping of events, a gathering of forces, a weaving of patterns that must be exact before the fulfillment appears. Your persistence is the quiet power that sustains this process. If you falter, the process halts. If you maintain the state, the law moves unerringly. Let us consider the power of assumption carried to its zenith. To assume fully, you must feel the end complete. Imagine no lack, entertain no doubt, witness no contradiction. If your desire is wealth, live now as one who holds it, whose hands bear it, whose heart rejoices in it. If it is love, feel the embrace, the laughter, the tender words as though they are happening now. If it is health, feel the vigor, the ease, the radiance as though no illness had ever touched you. Persist in this state daily, nightly, in every quiet moment, until it becomes natural. The inner witness will record it faithfully, and the outer must conform. Now, consider the profound intimacy of this law. The inner world is your most trusted confidant, your eternal ally. No one can enter it without your invitation. You may whisper the words of desire, yet they are only potent when accompanied by feeling. The mind, the heart, the subtle currents of consciousness, all must align in unison to carry the word into effect. Persistence is this alignment, a seamless flow of thought, feeling, and conviction. When it is complete, the outer world is compelled, for nothing can resist the inner law. The inner law governs silently, invisibly, perfectly, and your persistent assumption is the key that unlocks its power. The law is also playful, for it delights in creativity. You may vary your methods, writing, imagining, entering scenes, dwelling in feeling. But the end remains fixed. The unseen does not judge, it only fulfills. Yet it does require one condition: fidelity. One cannot assume lightly and expect abundance. One must enter the inner state as a lover enters a beloved's embrace, with totality, with devotion, with unhesitating trust. Anything less produces only echoes of desire, faint ripples that fade without effect. Total assumption is the vessel through which the unseen pours forth its richness. The outer, then, is never your teacher. It may appear to resist, to contradict, to deny, but it is the servant, not the master. It mirrors your inner state and nothing more. Persist in the inner vision, and the mirror will adjust, reflecting faithfully what has been impressed upon it. This is why persistence is the highest art. It maintains the inner reality without yielding to outer evidence. The more faithfully you hold the state, the more rapidly the outer yields. The world is obedient, the law is infallible. Only your wavering can interrupt its perfect flow. As you persist, notice how subtle changes begin to occur. Opportunities you never expected arise, events align with uncanny precision, people respond as though guided by an unseen hand. These are not coincidences, but the natural unfolding of the inner word made manifest. The law orchestrates everything to match your state. Your persistence is the rhythm, the tempo, the pulse that guides the symphony. Do not interrupt it with doubt, with worry, or with premature impatience. Allow the music to play, and the outer will eventually echo the melody of your inner certainty. Finally, understand that this persistence is not arduous. It is the delight of consciousness. To dwell in the end, to feel fulfillment now, to savor joy as though it is present, is the natural state of the awakened mind. You are not laboring, you are living in the reality that always existed, simply waiting for your recognition. Persist, therefore, with gladness, with confidence, and with unwavering faith. Write, imagine, assume, and hold. The law cannot resist. The unseen moves to fulfill the word. The messenger carries the message faithfully. The seed grows in hidden soil. And the world must reflect the state you have so lovingly maintained. Every moment you spend in the quiet of your inner world is a moment pregnant with creation. There is a subtle alchemy at work when you hold your desire as already fulfilled. The outer world may appear unyielding, may seem to resist, may even present obstacles that would discourage the faint of heart, yet these appearances are but the fleeting shadows of time, reflections that cannot stand against the unwavering current of your inner state. When you persist in imagination, when you enter fully into the scene that implies your desire realized, you are not dreaming. You are enacting the eternal law that precedes all visible form. The unseen is the real, and the seen is only its echo. To act as though the unseen is already visible is to command reality itself. The secret lies not in effort, but in feeling, for feeling is the bridge between thought and form. When you write, when you imagine, when you enter into the fulfillment of your wish, infuse it with feeling as the sun infuses its light upon the earth. The seed is inert without warmth, and the law requires the heat of conviction to awaken the latent power within the unseen. Feel the joy, the relief, the satisfaction, the harmony of the fulfilled desire. Let it fill your body as though you were living it now. Inhabit it fully. Taste it, hear it, see it within the theater of your mind. The more completely you dwell in the feeling, the more rapidly the outer world must yield. The law cannot resist. Consider how often men fail, not because the law is unfaithful, but because they have only half entered the scene. They imagine, yes, but with reservation. They write, yes, but with doubt. They assume, yes, but with one foot still in lack. Such half measures are powerless. The law requires total assumption. Enter the scene as a king enters his palace, as a lover enters the arms of beloved, as one who knows nothing but fulfillment. Resist nothing, doubt nothing, accept all as already yours. In that totality, the unseen stirs, mobilizes, and begins to orchestrate the circumstances that will mirror your inner decree. The world without is a faithful reflection of the world within. It does not invent, it obeys. It does not initiate, it mirrors. If you hold fear, scarcity, limitation, the mirror returns scarcity. If you hold joy, abundance, freedom, the mirror responds in kind. This is why it is vain to attempt to compel the outer with effort, negotiation, or striving. You cannot bend the world, you can only bend yourself. Change the inner state, persist in it, inhabit it fully, and the outer must obey. This is the law, eternal and unerring, and it bows to no argument, no reasoning, no external power. Only your inner conviction governs the manifestation. Every night, as you prepare to sleep, the importance of entering this state deepens. Night is the sanctuary in which the seed of imagination grows unseen, nourished by faith and undisturbed by outer appearances. Do not go to rest with worries, with fears, with doubts, or with half-formed desires. Enter sleep as though the desire is already fulfilled, for in this holy darkness, the unseen works most efficiently. The subconscious receives the impressions of your inner state with the immediacy of certainty, and it begins to arrange the outer world to match what you have so faithfully assumed. Sleep then becomes your ally, a silent participant in creation, for in the quiet of night, the law moves unimpeded by the interruptions of the senses. Persistence in the inner state is a profound act of mastery. It is not coercion, it is harmony. It is not struggle, it is rhythm. You are not forcing the world to yield, you are aligning with the current of reality that already exists. Every thought, every feeling, every scene held as true adds weight, substance, and inevitability to the fulfillment. Like the sculptor who does not carve by force, but by careful shaping, so do you mold the unseen with patience and persistence, until the outer must reflect the form you have patiently impressed upon it. The law works quietly, invisibly, perfectly, yet it is the most powerful force in all existence. Understand also that persistence requires discretion. It is not idle repetition, it is conscious maintenance. Guard the inner state as you would a precious jewel. Avoid allowing the outer to distract you, to shake your certainty, to draw your mind into doubt. When thoughts of lack arise, dismiss them not with struggle, but with gentle redirection. Return to the scene of fulfillment. Enter it again. Feel it fully. Let it saturate your being until doubt has no room to dwell. The law does not need your force, it needs your fidelity. Fidelity in feeling, fidelity in assumption, fidelity in imagination. That is the secret of all manifestation. There is also a silent joy in this process. To persist in the inner state is not burden nor labor, but a delight. It is the joy of the soul realizing its creative power, the ecstasy of knowing that you are the source, the authority, the orchestrator. You are not a servant of circumstance, you are the master of the unseen. This realization is not vanity, it is truth. It is the recognition that what has been written in imagination, what has been assumed with feeling, what has been held with persistence must appear. The unseen is faithful, and you may rejoice in that faithfulness even before the harvest is seen. As you persist, subtle transformations begin. Doors that were closed, paths that seemed blocked, opportunities that were invisible, all begin to shift. The angels of your assumed state move silently, preparing the way, arranging conditions, drawing people, aligning events. You may not perceive all at once, but the law works tirelessly, orchestrating every detail to mirror your inner state. Your persistence is the rhythm, the pulse, the force that guides this orchestration. Without it, the unseen moves slowly. With it, the unseen accelerates. Finally, understand that your imagination is sovereign. Every circumstance, every encounter, every event in the outer world is molded by the inner decree. To persist is to honor that sovereignty, to wield it responsibly, and to recognize its absolute power. The moment you fully inhabit the scene, assume the end, and persist in feeling as though it is already accomplished, the law cannot resist. The unseen must conform. Angels, messengers, circumstances, all are drawn to the state you maintain. The world without is compelled to reflect the world within, and the harvest, when it appears, is nothing less than the natural, inevitable result of your unwavering inner persistence. Every creation, every desire, every fulfilled wish is born in the silence of your inner world. The outer is but a reflection, a consequence, a mirror of the state you occupy within. The world without cannot resist the inner decree, for it is powerless apart from your consciousness. Yet many still labor outwardly, striving to alter circumstances, believing the key lies in effort, persuasion, or manipulation. They toil and struggle, never recognizing that the power to manifest is already theirs, embedded in the act of assumption, in the faith-filled word, in the feeling of the end already achieved. To know this, to live in it, to persist in it, is to step into the sanctuary of creation, where nothing is impossible, where every desire is a seed awaiting the sun of consciousness to awaken it. Consider the profound simplicity of this principle when you write, when you imagine, when you assume. You do not merely record a wish, you declare reality itself. The unseen, which knows no delay, which knows no hesitation, which knows no contradiction, moves immediately in response. It begins to orchestrate the conditions, to align the people, to arrange the circumstances, until the outer world must yield. Your outer senses may see delay, opposition, lack, yet these are only the shadows of appearances, powerless to resist the state you maintain within. Persist in the inner conviction, dwell in the scene, feel the end accomplished, and the world must bow. The unseen cannot resist a mind fixed firmly upon the end it desires. Persistence is more than repetition, it is fidelity. It is not the act of saying, I hope it will be, or perhaps it may come, but the act of dwelling fully and irrevocably in the state of fulfillment. To persist is to enter the inner world as one already in possession, to allow imagination to saturate your being, to feel the reality of your desire in every fiber of your consciousness. In this persistence, there is no struggle, no anxious waiting, no fretting over appearances. The law does not require your effort, it requires your unwavering assumption. Like the sun rising steadily without effort, the unseen brings forth your assumption with perfect rhythm and certainty. The angels of your inner state, the messengers of the unseen, work tirelessly to bring your word into form. They are drawn to your feeling, to the depth of your assumption, to the clarity of your vision. The more vivid, the more fully felt, the more persistent, the more completely they act. Yet they require your fidelity, for the law will not execute a half-written command, nor obey a mind divided, nor fulfill a wish diluted by doubt. Your imagination must be whole, your assumption unwavering, your faith unbroken. Enter the scene fully, write your word boldly, imagine with totality, and persist without faltering. In this, you become the master conductor of the invisible orchestra, and the world is compelled to perform the symphony you have composed. Do not fear contradiction. The outer may oppose, circumstances may appear hostile, the senses may declare impossibility, yet these are mere reflections of prior assumption, shadows that dissolve before the light of your persistence. The law within is stronger than any outer resistance. Your continued assumption, your unwavering feeling, your persistent dwelling in the end are irresistible. Like the river that carves its path through rock, like the sun that dissolves the frost of winter, so does persistent consciousness shape and command the outer. What you maintain within must manifest without, and no obstacle, no doubt, no apparent impossibility can withstand the pressure of sustained assumption. Tonight, as you prepare to rest, understand the sacredness of the moment. Sleep is the ally of manifestation, the chamber in which the seed of desire germinates unseen. Close your eyes and enter fully into the scene you wish to see accomplished. Feel it, breathe it, inhabit it. Let the night cradle your conviction. Let the darkness preserve your certainty. Let the quiet whisper of faith carry your inner word into the depths of being. The subconscious, ever faithful, receives your impression and moves tirelessly to adjust the outer, to align circumstances, to bring forth the evidence of your assumption. Sleep with the end fulfilled, and awakening brings the harvest closer, though you may not yet see it. And when morning comes, walk as one whose word is already done. Let every step, every gesture, every thought flow from the inner state you have maintained. Do not look to outer evidence for affirmation. Do not question the unseen. Your consciousness is the authority. The outer will adjust. Circumstances, people, events, all will conspire to reflect what you have assumed. The law is exact. It bows to no delay. It resists no conviction. It obeys only the inner word held with faith, feeling, and persistence. Persist joyfully, for the law delights in fidelity. It rejoices in faith, and it responds with abundance. The final lesson is this: every desire, every wish, every intention you impress upon yourself is alive, is a living word, a living seed, a living cause. To write it, to imagine it, to assume it is to set it into motion. The unseen cannot resist a mind fully persuaded of its own inner decree. The angels of your state move, unseen forces orchestrate, circumstances align, and the outer world yields. But the law requires your fidelity, your persistence, your unwavering assumption. Guard your inner state, cherish your vision, nurture the feeling, and persist until the fulfillment becomes inevitable. This is the ultimate mastery, to know that you are the source, the authority, the origin of your world. To understand that the outer cannot command you, the senses cannot deter you, the circumstances cannot oppose you, for all are reflections of the state you maintain within. Persist, write, assume, feel, imagine, and rest in this truth. The unseen is faithful. The messengers are tireless. The seed grows. The word is fulfilled. The world without must conform to the world within. And when it appears, as it inevitably will, you will know that you are not a victim of circumstance, but a sovereign of reality, a creator in full possession of the law, a master whose inner word shapes the outer with perfect authority.